Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Price, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is the third volume in a report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee and players Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Viz, Laura Hamstra as Eli Sharp, and Borovic as Morgan Rawls. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band is preparing for the hunt. Valentyne attracted a Marine's attention but freed Tresius to help look into Lady Bolonsong's murder. Morgan sourced pheromones for the hunt, and Eli and Attikus were disturbed to learn they might need to kill a space marine. Can they survive a possible battle with an Astartes? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
From the Lizardman letter. This has, of course, been a rather upsetting day for all involved, but this humble writer shall attempt her best to capture the spirit of the event, if not the tragedy of it. Of course, one can say many good things about the performance of one Lord Francois von Houten, returned from the wars, it would seem, to rather bombastic racing talent, both on horse and off. Of course, his shirtless spectacle was cut somewhat short by the untimely death of our beloved Guinevere Bolonsong, or Una, as she asked I call her. This particular writer is rather upset that one who shone so brightly burned out so fast. But burn out she did, and if one of you did it, I will find out. And though I like to keep things light, rest assured my reach is far, and my vengeance shall be spectacular. In any case, we shall see how the hunt goes. One must wonder how Lord Van Houten will manage a gun with that extraordinarily large arm, and how we will manage to see what he's hunting with our eyes locked squarely on those abs. In any case, the field is still wide open. We shall see who pulls out ahead. In the meantime, stay safe. There's only so much vengeance a humble writer can pursue in a day. So, you have some plans, some schemes, and some weird responsibilities that have been thrust upon you. Seasons are changing. The world is moving ahead, and the hunt is rapidly approaching. So, where we last left off, you had decided to kill a space marine if needed.
For the record, a given.
Yes, I can say it because I'm not bugged. You currently are standing by on trying to find a rifle for Attikus for the hunt. You have obtained pheromones to help lure a creature. You have been handed the responsibility of dealing with the Bolonsong estate and have been asked by Forrest Pollard, the Space Marine, to investigate the death of Lady Bolonsong as well as help sort out the affairs there. You managed to get Tresius Vanikoth off the Marnie Song, so he's now able to help. But you still have your maze, which is being built. You still have a number of unanswered questions, and the celestial season has been shortened to try and keep everyone safe and keep things moving, which does speak a bit to Forrest Pollard's indications that this is a particularly important season, and that the marriage of Duke Wixthrop is an important deal to the planet, which is emphasized perhaps when the emergency broadcast of the king cuts out abruptly, and Vernalius Venomblight comes on, obnoxiously tapping the microphone on whatever end of the Vox broadcaster he's on, and says, "Pardon me, everyone. I know you are probably well about your evenings and planning for our sadly abbreviated season. But there is someone who would like a word. So without further ado, Lord Wixthrop." And, you hear the jostling of a microphone being handed around. And the Duke Wixthrop, his voice a little shaky, but still deep and resonant in a Henry Cavill kind of way, comes through and just says, "People of Greybridge, the last thing that I would want is for my needs to cause pain and loss to others, and yet a luminary of the society, someone who is universally loved and who has struggled and thrived through great tragedy, is dead as a result of my need to find a partner. The season must go on. This is difficult for me, and I'm sure it's difficult for you. Lady Guinevere was perhaps the best of us, and perhaps exemplified what our society could be. And I ask that as we move on with this event, these series of events, that we keep her in our hearts, in our minds, and we try and behave in a way that would be up to the standard that she has set for us all, be up to the standard that we could aspire to if we so chose. If this must go on, and it seems it must, let us do it in an honest way. According to the early reports, it would seem that Lady Bolonsong's ship failed to engage its autolander, and as a result, her navigation course crashed her into the planet. It would also seem that Lord Versailles' ship shorted out, and his fire suppression technology was not operational, resulting in some rather serious damage to the Lord, although I am told he is recovering, albeit somewhat slowly. These could be accidents, and I sincerely hope they are. If they were not, I am assured that the vengeance of the crown will be swift. I say this not with malice, I say this not as a threat, but merely to any who might look to harm those that they are jealous of, in the name of something as stupid as love. Please, don't. I don't want any more unnecessary bloodshed. Aside from the hunt tomorrow, which will be more unnecessary bloodshed. I thank you all. I wish you all an evening of reflection, of safety. The curfew will be lifted pending the further reports on the death of Lady Bolonsong, but from the looks of things, it was tampering or it was an accident, neither of which is an active thing. So don't fly anywhere. Ships are grounded. But in any case, it has been a long day for me as well. I apologize for going on at such length. I just needed you all to know where I stood with this. My affections are still out there to be won, so do your best, I suppose. Thank you. Good luck. Glory to Greybridge. And Vernelius Venomblight starts clapping off mic, and then picks up the mic and says, well said, Duke. So, as our handsome and eligible Duke has said, his heart is still on the line. So, try your best, muddle forward, and we will see you at tomorrow's events. Well, train for the events that are in 2 days. You know what I mean. All right. Good night, everyone. And then just cuts back to the king's message. But like mid-message, it's one of those awkward things where it cuts back in, but with him being like, these occurrences that occurred, and he just keeps going on this little ramble.
So to be clear, for my brain, it's like the end of day of race.
Yep.
Tomorrow, bonus activity day.
Yep.
Next day, hunt.
Yep. Tomorrow
Great.
is like, normally you would have a few days between these events, but because they've shortened it, they still want to give people a day to also recover. And like, there's no way they're not letting Tresius Versailles back in to the hunt, and he needs a day to like cough up a lung.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it will be 1 day of prep, hunt, funeral party. Into next season, 1 day of rest, your party, art show.
Maybe another funeral. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. Don't worry about it. Another day of rest, winter. Yeah. Unless things get worse, in which case they will speed up.
I think the other thing Valentyne would bring up specifically with Attikus on their floor is, so I'm going to be looking into this estate, and obviously if we're including the homicide in the whole thing, I'll be looking into the staff, into all of the people who work at this facility, and if I find the most likely suspects, considering I'm acting under your, quote-unquote, Lord Van Houten's authority, we'll need you to interrogate the highest tier suspects. Obviously, we'll already know something is up, but I'll need to bring them to you for at least appearance's sake.
Right. How convincing should I be in my questioning?
I would say be convincing to your character. I'll bring you all the evidence you need to demonstrate what you have going on. And you could also say, bring a friend in and play good cop, bad cop, perhaps. Obviously not someone of my station. It would never be something more equal. But there is a certain rogue trader who is on the property who, if you can effectively clear...
Eli, like, visibly, like, sighs in relief.
Yes, no, Eli, you and I are both servants. Yes. It's not going to be us. But certain Rawls might be an appropriate person to join you in an interrogation.
Right. Well, that sounds all fine then.
Excellent.
So I had an idea about the hunt tomorrow.
I do love ideas.
Well, it seems to me that our collective goal is to get Van Houten to win the affections of the Duke, so why not have Captain Vaughn shoot for me, so to speak. She's got a rifle now, right?
Yes, correct.
If I could procure the same kind of rifle, then the bullet from that rifle is what kills the big beast or whatever, and since I'm not a great shot, sir, it could have come from her rifle. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, especially if you go in and finish it with the fist.
Right, yeah. I could do that.
I mean, put it down, just go in, punch it in the brain and say, ha-ha, job well done, etc. My big concern, honestly, this is an excellent plan in terms of the hunt itself, but we need to make sure you don't die. We've always assumed that the assassination and other methodologies are targeting other people simply because we're new to this game. However, they killed the person who is most favored to win. Currently, the person who's most favored to win is you.
So why wasn't my ship sabotaged, sir?
My guess would be because we showed up very last minute and no one knew which ship would be yours.
So it's good then that my hunting implement, my main one, is this one right here. And he just like flexes his fist like no one's tampered with that.
That's true. We may also need a certain rogue trader to perhaps work on counter-sniping. Hunting the hunter, as it would. We need to know who is coming after our dear Lord Van Houten and make sure that when they raise a weapon against him, they are struck down swiftly, but also silently and from a distance. In a way, with an identical rifle, it could also be called self-defense from a very talented lord.
It seems like these plans go together very well.
We need to find 2 identical rifles. Do we know anyone who had rifles on this planet? Have we seen anything like that?
Just the Royal Guard, sir. No one else has a personal weapon collection that I'm aware of.
I wonder if Marcellus knows if any of the security would have a lead on some. I mean, the security right here, they're not the most upright citizens.
It's possible, but I'm worried about having drawn a Space Marine's attention. Moving into illegal arms trading becomes a bit more questionable.
Rose, how difficult to duplicate is your weapon?
With things on this planet, it might be difficult. I'm
So
not
then-
even sure if I should take it out of the premises, considering Morgan's like halfway to disassemble it.
No, it needs to be disassembled here. However, if we could get it permitted for the hunt, then that would be acceptable. And we only need to match the caliber of the ammunition. We don't need to match the entire weapon.
Right.
All right, so hopefully we'll have a certain, let's just say, gunfire sommelier spin by. And we don't know of anyone else with rifles other than the Royal Guard, so that appears to be our only option.
And Morgan would, with the gun, pull out, well, if you find something of a similar caliber, I have multiple clips for this gun, so one can go to you, one to me, they will match exactly.
Morgan and Eli, would you like to spend a story point for something?
The count is 1 for us and 4 for you currently?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, pitch like that. What are you thinking, Eli?
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, all
You can
right.
go spend it.
Let's do it.
You distinctly do remember someone who has rifles, who died in a giant fiery explosion and whose estate you now possibly own.
Jesus Christ, of course.
You guys hadn't told me about that, so I was pimping you so hard.
Oh, shit. I thought it was for me. I was like, no, I didn't talk to anyone with rifles.
What?
I forgot that she had rifles.
Yeah.
She was practicing.
forgot
It's
that
very good,
whole
Ryan. I
thing.
appreciate the setup.
so hard.
Oh, yeah, that went totally over my
it left
head.
my brain because they were such shitty rifles that I'm like, we don't want those.
Yeah.
They weren't shitty. Eli just couldn't shoot them.
Excuse me. Excuse me. That means they were shitty.
These computers are weird.
Thank you. I was just thinking.
Yeah.
So sorry. All right. Well, if I happen to be of assistance helping the Lord with this Bolonsong estate, she was gearing up for the hunt herself and had rifles there.
Oh, okay. Well, Valentyne, you're overseeing that under the guise of being my major domo along with Tresius, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So, how do we get her over there to get the rifles?
Send her over as an agent of yourself, which would be acceptable. I believe the Space Marine said that you could send along those that you trusted most.
All right.
Should roles be included in that? That's an easy send. We go over together. Frankly, we have access to the will. Maybe we borrow a couple of rifles, do what we need to do. It all seems to make sense to me. And we already have the pheromones, so there's nothing in particular that you need to do today.
Yes, I wanted to do some hands-on research there, just in case, I don't know, someone tipped their hand.
She's got rifles over there, and she was practicing, you said.
That's right.
I might as well
Horrible
come.
weapons.
Oh, well, I might as well come too. I need the practice.
All right. Well, Eli, you get to come with us too. Congratulations. It'd be very strange for Clarence to remain behind while Clarence's rogue trader journeyed on their own. So we're all going over there, which is fine. This place is already being built. The maze is taken care of. Staff are doing all that. And frankly, you can practice shooting anywhere. So why not? It'll make the interrogations faster and we can sort out this damn wheel.
I'll need your help running drills anyway.
Oh. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh. All right. Oh, Eli's excited again.
Hopefully, with a little more time, your shots will be better than last time.
Stop bringing it up.
I'm done.
And with that, you all spend an uneasy evening in the unless Valentine
No, the
comments
face I was
on
making
that.
was just Valentine being like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" Like, he's got mechanical eyes; it wouldn't read anyways. It's fine. It's like his face is dead. Continue.
So with all that, you turn in for the evening and spend a probably not great night resting up. Is there anything any of you would do overnight? No, you don't recover your strain. It's societal strain. You're like tired, like you get your rest. Just people didn't forget that you fucked up in front of them. Except Guinevere.
Yeah. Eli tunes up a servo skull to be like animals running around so that Attikus can shoot.
All right.
That's great. Valentine would review the audio recordings of Eugene as they were running through the crowd for the crash to see if he found or overheard anything that was of value, because people in a very proper society, frankly, only that level of surprise would get them to say something that stupid in public if there was anything. Other than that, it's just sleeping. But now this is compact last pistol under the pillow, sleep in a chair facing the door, that kind of thing, and setting himself up so he's watching the hallway specifically to see if anybody tries to make a move on Lord Van Houten. Frankly, crashing a ship that should be fine into the ground isn't exactly subtle, and the dangerous level of assassinations tends to increase as the likelihood of getting caught increases. The game's getting played now, and it's going to get ugly soon. He just doesn't know when.
Yeah, Morgan would want to stay in whatever room Eli is in, which is fine because they're technically guests here. And she would also sleep sitting against a wall, but she would review the footage from Toby because she took footage of the race, of the people's reactions, but now reviewing it with the thought of, okay, is there any information on the ships, anything else that looked a little off that wasn't related to that, because Toby flew all the way into the ship with her and flew over that way. Yeah.
A random question. Knowing your back is a cut-up series of open wounds, would you lean against a wall?
Yep.
Wow. That committed to looking cool.
Wow.
No, just that's her. Tyler.
I respect it.
Well, I think it's less like I'm sitting.
It's just there's a bus and Tyler just shoves you under it.
Yeah, thank you. This
Clearly
is
a
the night for me
PTSD
tonight.
trauma security response.
Yes,
Instead it's
yes.
what a cool lady.
Yeah, and I think it is because it's the knees up and like arms against that, so she wouldn't be sleeping with her whole back touching the wall. But it would be in a corner, curled up, sitting. Yeah.
I can see it now.
Eli would grab
it cool?
Eli would grab like a moldy old blanket because I assume that's all they have.
You would assume correctly.
Yeah, and just like kind of just lean forward and create kind of like a soft barrier.
She just look pathetic at you and not respond to that because she can't interact with something that vulnerable from you. And she wouldn't want to talk about it unless you tried to. She would be like, I'm just doing the 1,000-yard stare in looking at Toby stuff.
Not bringing it up.
There we go. Best friend.
Jesus. All right. So I'm gonna need, I think, let's start, Ryan, with Eugene. So probably, honestly, perception. I
That
think.
makes sense.
Much as I'd love to use tech use, it doesn't really fit. So perception. I'm gonna say difficulty 3. It would be higher, but I feel like Eugene can parse things. But there's also like a full crowd of people screaming shit. So it's a lot of enhance, rewind, enhance. Translate those numbers. There's a license plate. But I will also give you a boost, I think, for just Eugene being programmed to do this sort of stuff. Like, this isn't outside of what
Yeah, he's an
used for
audio servo
all
skill.
the
This is
time.
the gig.
And I think that's probably it. Is there anything you want to make a case for?
That all makes sense to me. I think that's legit. 4 advantage.
4 advantage. Okay. So unfortunately, between the explosion, the second crash really kills it for you. You can definitely, you hear a tantalizingly close to useful amount of information, but it's very, very hard to pull any of it apart.
I've got a pitch for the advantage if you want.
Sure.
Valentine's movements through the crowd direct people into Toby's eye line, and we'll just pass advantage over to the
I like that
Toby
a lot.
check.
Yep. Sounds good.
So I had 4, so she gets 2?
Yep.
Great.
So over to you.
All right. I'll take it.
Cool Lady Morgan.
Oh my God.
Sitting so cool in a moldy blanket and
Yeah.
torture wounds.
Yeah.
I really zeroed in
sunglasses
on
is
leaning against the wall. That's all it was. Yeah. I was just like, cool Morgan leaning against the wall.
She
Kind
just
of
lay down
forgot
like
the
a
rest
dork.
of the mental picture, just leaning against the wall.
She's got sunglasses on. It's just
Yeah.
one shoulder.
Like sunglasses
How
on
you
her head,
doing?
on her eyes. How do you see with those sunglasses at night? I don't need to. Oh shit, she's cool.
Just having a time.
Can I hear how you doing with her accent?
How are you doing?
It has an R in you. I love it.
It's more grammatically correct. How are you doing?
All right, so I'm going to say
So close to Dracula when you do that.
Exactly. That leans that
How
way.
are you doing, my children of the night? Blah.
on that note, check out Blood and Syrup. Anyway, so let's say difficulty 3, so same problem.
And what was my...
But you get 2 boosts from Valentyne. I'll give you an additional boost for similar to Eugene, Toby just being primed for this, and a setback for Toby flying quickly and then like slamming in the back of your Dragula.
Yeah, and what was my skill? Wow, bringing that one back too.
Yeah, always. Perception.
Perception. Beep, 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 beep. Why do dice fucking hate me? 2 failures, 2 advantages. It was way more in my favor, but rip. Morgan is too distracted by flesh wounds, I guess.
Understandably, yeah. It's been a long
God.
day. Okay, so unfortunately with the chaos, like you see lots of people moving around, but there's no clear pattern to it. There's no
but
method
there's less chaos now.
to Toby's
No,
video
she's
from
Send
the
it back.
joke about removing the scarring.
She should have got a boost for that. Anyways.
You're going to get a setback for the quality of that joke. Let's do a dream check. 3 setback for puns.
Let's go back. I'm taking that out.
Look,
Don't you dare.
if we were
I'm taking this out, too.
if we were doing setbacks for puns, there would be no show.
That's very true.
It would just be like, welcome to the Valentyne Heresy.
I was going to say it
air,
would mostly be on Tom.
Yeah, exactly. It'd just be dead
cakewalk
air and
for
then
us.
like, right, will do, sir. Dead air, dead air, dead air. Yes, we will go there, Inquisitor. Dead air, dead air, dead air. Other Imperator. Dead air, Tyranids. And then the episode would end, and that'd be the whole series, and it would be great.
Yay!
Yay.
The 40K soundboard.
Coming soon from Jimmy Space. All right, so unfortunately, there's too much. The crowd is too much to observe anything. And I think honestly, Morgan, it's also just that you're so fried that it's just like watching it trying to will some kind of pattern
Definitely.
into existence is not working for you. But we can pass the advantage on. And sorry, Tyler, I was going to call him Lord Van Houten. Did Attikus do anything over the course of the evening?
I was thinking if he could request like a broom be brought up to his quarters, he would try to remember his old like what's it called when you're in a regiment or whatever?
A parade drill?
A parade drill, yeah. And so the broom is his rifle, and he's just trying to basically correctly, accurately, crisply move that rifle through a few drills, and also kind of learn or relearn, because his sidearm has been his firearm for so long now that he's had this power fist. So with a rifle, he's also practicing just holding the broom, the bristles up against his shoulder, and then letting the shaft of the broom rest, I think, on like the wrist of the power fist. Like he holds it like
exactly how I was
cross chest in
imagining it,
front of him, and he's just kind of balancing it that way, and just kind of getting a little early kind of drilling in on like the form that he should be using and stuff like that. And then also he needs to sleep.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's showtime every day kind of thing. So yeah, he's not sacrificing sleep for this. It's like literally if it's 10 minutes, he takes 10 minutes.
You Tokyo drifted a horse earlier today. It's been a very long day.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
I was worried you were going to pool cue your rifle. Your power fist hand. Just,
Make a big
Yeah,
sense
just
and
like-
just put the rifle barrel through it.
Well, so I kept hearing people talk about racking up your rifle. Okay, so question that I think you answered like a million years ago. Attikus's dominant hand, was that the one he lost? That's now the power fist?
Boy, I think so.
Okay. So you've been shooting with your left with a sidearm. It's going to make rifling difficult, but that's fine. Cool. So you could have a boost on your first, like, legitimately try and do something with a rifle check tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the delightful mental image of Attikus with a broom gun.
You just hear like,
Yeah, just like Lord in Star Wars.
Bang, bang. Gotcha. Nasty
Flashlight,
orcs.
flashlight. Okay, cool. So Eli, you are programming servo skulls to be
to basically just go like run around and then zigzag and like
yeah.
when
No,
he-
I picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
It's just like you're training those little combat droids from Star Wars,
Exactly.
and or clay pigeons. Okay, so I'm gonna need tech use from you, please.
Cool.
I'm gonna say difficulty 2, largely just because the servo skulls you can find in this place are old and bad.
Cool.
But there are certainly a few in like a box somewhere. It's so gross to think of servo skulls in a box.
a box
Can
of heads.
can I argue for a boost because I literally just like less than 24 hours ago reprogrammed one from this
Yep.
world?
Yep, totally.
Ooh.
Yeah, so boost for that. I think I'll also just give you a boost for like there's probably a lot of like random like bit boxes here that you can just like take wires and shit out
Cool.
of. Lots of leftover pieces on sprues that you can just clip off and glue
Pull
on.
them out of the walls. Who cares?
Just stripping the wiring.
Yeah.
Can make some good thrones for this. And then otherwise,
That's everything.
well, actually, I think you get another boost from Dell because Dell, you had 2 advantage to your failures. So
Oh shit.
if
Okay.
you want to pass that along,
Yeah, please take it.
Take
from
our,
the
take
from
our
the
cursed
Take our-
boosts.
Yeah, if you want that.
I can decline and it can go on to the next person. Or
It
no?
depends who Jill wants to send it to, because with 2 boost,
Two.
she can.
I pick with 2 advantages. Do you not want it?
I can have it. I just don't.
no.
I just don't think
Did-
it's a terribly important role,
Well,
in my opinion.
Send it.
Wow.
She said that out loud. It's going to go bad.
Okay, I'm taking it. I'm taking
Yeah.
It's gone. It's gone.
I'm
It's to
taking
you.
it.
and do you want to spend a story point?
Fuck you. For the record, we don't have any story points right now. Tom has them all, and he knows it.
Tom
He's giving
sets
a
him up
shit-eating
and
I
grin.
feel
Vaughn
like
knocks
Smaug.
him down. Yeah.
Sitting on my
Story
giant
point
pile of
mountain.
snow.
points.
Points.
The spointy mountain.
I like
takes
that.
too long to
No.
say. We're going with spoints now.
No.
Okay,
My
with our
goal is to
0
make sure
points,
no one listens
no.
to this podcast.
See that?
This is the series finale.
Tom's got 5 points and we have 0 points.
We cut around puns now, so goodbye, audience.
Can't help but react, even though I know it's just feeding you.
Exactly.
It's how chaos starts. Go
I'm
for it.
rolling.
Yeah.
I'm an emotional vampire.
Oh my god, with all of that, I'm so glad. 1 success, 1 advantage.
There you go.
You took all of our stuff and won.
This,
Ryan and Dell
it's
are
good
dancing.
Yeah. Grim darkness of the 41st
Fucking
millennium.
psychos.
There is dancing. All right, so Eli, you managed to easily reprogram these
Yay!
things. It's also just nice to do this when there isn't like a boarding action happening.
It
It's
really
just
is,
like,
yeah.
You can take your time.
No one's breaking through the hull, and I'm sitting like an auto turret or something.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have like a whole squad relying on you to work quickly.
Yeah.
You can just kind of take your time. Do you want to push your luck and see if you can wire one of these for transmission? No? All right. Got a big old head shake.
For our listeners, Laura started shaking her head at about the time Tom said, do.
I heard push your luck, and like, no, sir.
There's also like a Michael Keaton Batman level of whole body, which I will.
I didn't want there to be
greatly
any
appreciate.
confusion.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so yeah, you program your little clay pigeon servo skulls that I assume we're just like bouncing around the room until you turn them off and like put them in a box. Cool. Okay. So that is how you all spend your evenings. The next day comes, and it is blindingly bright through the shitty slatted blinds of Van Houten Manor. Just that summer sun is just bearing down on you. The place is sweltering. You awake to a sweaty house as you hear sort of bumping around downstairs as Hugh Smiggleton just desperately tries to get any form of air conditioning up and running for your space. You can hear him on the Vox coder yelling at Voidstain staff to like hurry over with machines. He arrives with a truly wilted breakfast to your room, Attikus, in the morning. Just kind of knocking and entering and saying, Lord Van Houten, I am so terribly sorry. I thought we had more days before the summer would start, and as a result, I did not have any cooling installed, and I assure you it will be coming as soon as we can. Those bastards over at Voidstein are giving me a hell of a time because they know that we need it, and they have it. So I'm trying desperately. We will get this place cool as soon as possible. I am so dreadfully sorry.
Right, well, good see to it then. Well, what's this? What have you got here?
These were some fine pastries, but now they are kind of a pastry soup.
Pastry soup. Good pastry soup, of course. Yes, I'll take that in my quarters then.
And he delivers it to you, but just like you can see his heart breaking because he really he reads this as sarcasm, like as like a
Well, good.
deeply scathing.
I was going to say, he also does not get up the stairs. I was like, I'll take it to my quarters. He gets to the second floor, Valentyne just takes
Sure,
that train.
wherever the train needs to go.
He does not get to that third floor. Nobody
That's
does.
fine. And he just like backs away, taking several strain.
Pastry? What in the bloody hell's a pastry?
Well, normally they're not a soup. I don't even know how this is possible. It's not like they become liquid when they get warm. This is insane.
Can I eat it?
I mean, you can.
To be clear, it's not full liquid. It's just there's like a nice big fluffy thing that is now depressed into like a goopy.
And like the glaze has melted.
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
said it
Generally,
was soup.
like-
I know soup, sir.
Yeah, I'm beginning. It looked like liquid for a second, and now it just looks like a collapsed mountain. It's fine. Calorically useful. Yes, carb load. Valentyne will join him. We'll just eat pastries. Everyone else, you eat carbs.
What is that?
Oh,
It's pastries.
I don't think so.
Is it like rations?
it's a tragedy. Just eat it.
We all need our energy.
Exactly. This is as good as it gets.
Honestly, pretty fucking tasty. Just presented badly.
Probably one of the sweetest things he's ever eaten. Yeah.
So you have some food. The staff is again just hustling and bustling downstairs, getting the maze built. There are carriage. I guess you're all going to the same place now. So there's a carriage sort of like waiting for you that Hugh has arranged for. He's staying on site to oversee the maze construction. Now that you've kind of lost Father Marcellus and other people who were keeping an eye on the grounds, he's kind of the only person you have that isn't one of your like shady crew. So he'll be keeping an eye on that. Tresius is already over there talking to the solicitor, so he's on site. You, however, have also overnight received two fancy cards delivered on trays that also didn't make it to the third floor.
Nothing does.
You have received one from Kyros. And you've received one from Voidstain.
Let's read that Voidstain one.
So the Voidstain one, you wouldn't expect, or it's almost defies reason, but Sakatar Voidstain's handwriting is as droopy and sad as he is. It's one of those like almost Edward Gorey level of like everything. Like the letters are very fine, but very thin and kind of like vaguely Tim Burton-y. And the card just reads, "After yesterday's tragedies, I hope that we can all remain civil as we move forward. I will admit, somewhat worried about future competition and would welcome a chance to speak to you about my concerns at your, well, not earliest convenience. I wouldn't assume that from you, but when you can, it would be nice to speak of such things to ensure we're on the same page. Sincerely, Sakatur Voidstain."
Just to be clear, this is the one who saw the heretical symbols on you, screamed heretic, and tried to chase you?
That's correct.
Wait, heretical symbols on her?
No, they were heretic. We can walk down this whole path. Fine. There were heretical symbols we were using to smoke out any who might have knowledge of things that they should not have. Those symbols have been removed, so there is no danger to any of us. It is a sign of great sacrifice on Morgan's part that she allowed herself to participate in this, and should be appreciated for it.
Oh, Attikus bristles at, the thought of using heretical symbols. You're like,
Right. Better you than me. Well done. Well handled.
Precisely.
I don't want to hear anymore, sir.
But
if I
this
may.
very kind, depressing message is from perhaps the person who has the most interpersonal hostility against you, Morgan.
That's correct. He had a very intense reaction that I did not anticipate.
If he saw that, how come there's no royal guards being summoned to haul you out of here?
My guess is he's hedging his bets.
Well, then how come there's no letter addressed to her saying he's got leverage?
Because his entire house and family have been destroyed in the past for consorting with those who are corrupt. So this would be, if he is, shall we say, warped, this would be the most roundabout way of getting into the house and then perhaps stumbling into an interested party. Yes, the fact that there are no royal guards here about this is tremendously depressing. But it would suggest his knowledge of symbols that he has no reason to have any knowledge of whatsoever, because there is no inquisitorial presence on this world, and he is a distant relative of a family who would only have survived the purge through a combination of use and distance from those who are corrupt, yet he still knows the symbols. This is not good. However, the approach is interesting because it may mean that there is an outside influence within this world. If he is a part of a cult, if he is a part of a darker thing, then we may need an in. This may be a meeting that we need to take.
Well, what does the Kuros card say?
Let's find out. And Valentyne picks it up to read it. Yeah.
And the Kuros card is written in someone else's hand. And at the bottom it says, dictated, not written. And it just says, hey, chuckle fucks. As some of the only people who didn't get their asses kicked yesterday, I'm thinking maybe it makes sense to have a little chat. I think I might have a lead on who is out there doing shit, and given that we're still standing, I'm a little worried that my ass might be on the line, and I guess yours too, but I don't have a giant metal arm for punching, so I thought maybe I would see if I could borrow yours. Anyway, hit me up just to chat. Your biggest fan. This is Kuros. P.S. Shirtless buds forever. Dictated, not read.
I don't know about this one, sir. He was talking to me on the starting line. He's a clown, sir. He's not a serious man.
Yes, there is a chance that he was pretending to be a clown and is a serious man, and there still is a chance that he knows something, even if it's oblivious, or it's a ploy. As we know, the Kuros and the Versailles are much closer than they are pretending to be. So if he shows up and pins it on the Versailles, perhaps just those servants were friends. If he shows up and pins it on a third party, perhaps Versailles is indeed a part of this plot, and so is Kuros. There are many questions. Unfortunately, we can't afford to not take a meeting. However, he is thoroughly disliked. It could perhaps be a Vox call if you felt a visit would not be appropriate. The question is, what would your character do, and what do we need for the investigation? Voidstain is a trash fire, but we do need to speak with him specifically so Rawls can speak with him separately.
Yes, and about Kuros, as I was watching him at the party the other night, he definitely seems a clown, but is measured. It seems to be purposeful rather than him stumbling into things, so perhaps there is something more underneath all of that.
Then perhaps we could throw him off his game, say, invite him to an estate that you are executing power over instead of ours. Bring him to a third party, bring him into a murder investigation, let him feel a little bit of the power of Lord Van Houten in this circumstance.
Sure. Maybe we could incorporate him into the rifle drills.
I love this idea. So, we'll incorporate him into the rifle drills, and Eli will, shall we say, make sure that efforts are stacked in your favor. We'll bring Voidstain in, but that could be a relatively brief meeting. The whole goal there is to organize a conversation with Van Rawls privately afterwards to see what... Rawls Van. His name's... Ugh.
There's a lot of them.
Rawls Van.
You're telling me, sir.
Luckily, I listen, I work for the Lord. I can get your name wrong all I want in public, and it'll just seem like I'm insulting you. But Rawls Van, if we can organize a separate conversation in a room where you are alone in this estate, then perhaps you can find out how far things have gone.
Yes.
See if it's even brought up. If it isn't, it'll be a disturbing clue unto itself.
Makes sense to me.
Well, I mean, we're mostly certain, or completely certain, that this floor of this house isn't bugged. I don't know nothing about the listening devices and what have you at the other estate, sir. What kind of conversations can we really have here?
We are going to have to maintain our covers completely. In terms of the conversation on the road, perhaps, Rawls, you could take Sacateur inside one of our carriages for a brief ride. It'll be easier for us to effectively scan and strip anything out of one of those as opposed to somewhere within a house that we don't have time to do that in.
That is true. Unless you want to invite him here.
What's the advantage?
Third floor's clean.
Exactly.
Disadvantage is clear. He could bring new items in. He sees how run down the estate is. He's also hated by the rest of the houses, and we would lower ourselves, especially by bringing him here, whereas if we bring him to the other location, it becomes part of a murder investigation, and frankly might actually play in our favor instead of against it.
That's right. The standing of this house matters quite a bit.
Our ultimate goal, right?
Right.
Remember, our ultimate goal is to get to that fucking Eldar or whatever.
Cloud City.
Then it's important that the Lord continues to look in very good standing.
We invite him to the other estate. You can take him for a ride or frankly walk him around in the fields and see what happens. Get him to incriminate himself first, and then in worst case scenarios, if this plays out anywhere else, we can claim that this is part of the investigation.
Of course.
Luckily, entrapment's legal in the Imperium.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features the voices of players Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, Laura Hamstra, and Del Borovic, alongside Game Master Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Flynn 1138, Alarain Okapi, Schrodinger's Pepper, Guy Edwards, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Nithrian, Garbo Ape, Locke, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dagger Rain, Rob L, Dia De Los Hoodless, Diovasis, Loki Burrito, Squishy Werewolf, Remy, Funky Head, Nomad, the Wise Paladin of the Badlands, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.